First topic is one of the blog posts that you're going to be working on, and it was about how we made the annual goal.
Yeah.
Like literally, I think I got an email on New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
And I was just
not
like,
preferred.
but it happened. It happened. So yeah, so basically the questions outlined say, what was the goal? How many days left in the year did we have whenever you realized, okay, we got to kick it up. We're so close.
Well, I think the goal is you don't want to get in these situations. That's ideal. You don't want to be waiting till the last day of the year to close it out. It's also why you're starting to see more and more companies move to, and Salesforce was the first to do it, and a lot of companies have aligned with Salesforce because they sell to Salesforce to move their actual year end to January 31st. So you don't have this kind of like weird time around the holidays where you're trying to give people time off, but it's the end of the year. So I think that's interesting. So we identified kind of like our Q4 gap of like where we were at, probably mid-November. And I think what happens is at a small company, every deal matters. And especially if you have a couple of larger deals fall through, it can make a big impact. And so we had two deals that were over, $100,000+. I think one was closer to 200, that fell through. And so for us, we knew we had a gap and that we had to basically go find another, probably 150 to 100,000 for us to hit the final number. And really it was about identifying what are the products that we feel are easy to say yes to. Like what are the things that we're doing that are the easiest to say yes to? And so we didn't have to use discounts. We didn't have to go and start discounting. Instead, what we did is we kind of put together something that's a little bit easier to consume from a package standpoint. So I think lessons that other companies can learn is, one, if you understand the business value your companies or your customers are trying to solve for, you don't have to use discounts to get people over the finish line. Make it very easy for them to purchase. So make it to where they, I can quickly look at this, I see the value and say yes or no. And so that alone helped us to close probably 30 to 50K of it, probably. I'll have to go look, but I'd say probably 30 to 40K was from this packages that we came up with. So I think it's, look, plan ahead, plan for the worst case. I think those are things that people know, but plan for the real worst case. And then when the things happen, really just take a step back and say, okay, hey, this is where we're at. And candidly, I didn't think that, I gave our likelihood to get there not as high as I would have liked. So
that's one of our questions. How confident were you that the team would make this happen?
Well, the team, we came into November with a pretty large deficit. I mean, it was over $500,000. And so I knew we had enough in the pipeline to get close, but when those two deals fell out, I think it looked like it made it much more difficult. So, once we had it, basically what happened, then we had a big renewal come in early. And so that kind of helped to offset some of it. And that once we knew the delta was under a few 100,000, I think then it was okay, I think we can close the gap. So.
So you kind of hinted that the deals were already sort of in the pipeline, but these packages that you were talking about were new. Those were
brand new.
Yeah.
Brand new. We just started reaching out to previous clients. I did some posts on LinkedIn about it. Reached out to current clients. So it was a mix. It was a real on the ground front lines effort. I mean, so no.
Most of those were
all
new
new
relationships, or people
no,
you
mix.
Okay, kind of both.
Yeah, mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how'd you do it?
The best way to summarize it is we met as a team. We started meeting more frequently than we normally would, and I think we started to collaborate more effectively. I think we did a better job of being communicative, people just being honest about where deals were or weren't, so we could really just try to understand what is the gap here. What's actually going to happen. So I think sometimes when you're in those wartime moments, over communication is key. And I think we did a good job of kind of constantly communicating on here's where we're at. So we knew what the gap was. And then when we did the post about these packages, we started to get some early indicators oh, let's just keep doing this. And so we were able to find it.